Greetings! You're watching Septum Sen versus the World. I'm Septum Sen, and I'm back again with Kotobuki Jake to give you the news on what's coming out to you. Unless you, well, I guess maybe if you ordered all of it, I don't know. But you'll get a chance to, and we'll go ahead and start off. We're going to move this time, because there's a lot to cover.
Yeah.
So, go for it.
And even if you did order everything, don't go ahead and tune out just because you ordered, because you never know. You might decide to order another copy or something. So, you've got it on your phone. Won't that be nice?
Yeah.
Okay, so the first item on the list is pretty cool and kind of weird the way it's going down, too. We got a whole bunch of stuff coming out this week from Eastern Star, that upstart anime company that does older releases. And one of the things coming out this week is volumes 2 through 4 of Project A-ko. Apparently they released volume 1 like 6 years ago, and they're just now getting around to the rest of it. But this is a series of movies from the mid-80s. They are very much from the 80s. But they're very fun. He actually insisted I watch them a while back. And
classics.
They are not the highest quality anime out there, but they're a lot of fun. And they kind of helped. We never did get to play Collateral Damage, did we?
No, we never did.
I have a board game that I think he gave me that I never got to play, that's largely inspired by Project A-ko and shows like it. It's called Collateral Damage. So that can tell you a little bit about the series. A-ko is a super strong character who's real good-hearted and goes around helping people and destroying stuff in her wake. And that's really all I remember of the series. That's
well, we got two others. Biko, who is a wealthy girl who is also insanely intelligent. And then Siko, who is an annoying little brat who is apparently the same age as the two characters. I won't call either one of them a protagonist or an antagonist because as you watch through, neither one of them was exactly good. But, I mean, if you look at the series, okay, they're both well developed, but Siko looks like she's 10.
If that.
But no, she's the same age as they are. And they're both fighting for her love. I don't understand it. It's there. But the one that's the most famous has already been released in Volume 1. That was the movie with the man, women, or whatever it was that they had it was a weird thing. Then these are the other ones that came out. Cinderella Rhapsody, Love and Robots was the one I know it of, but it's a different name there. Basically, a couple of the movies and the rest of the OVA. They're fun. It's just basically the same characters in different roles, and but definitely worth watching. It's a classic, I think. So the next up is Soul Link. I lost my notes. I don't know what the heck Soul Link is. I know it's coming out. I know it's by Eastern Star. And that's all I know. Do you have anything on Soul Link?
Well, it's a short series. I think it was 13 episodes, roughly, or it might be 12 in an OVA or something like that. And it's one of those shows that vaguely involves interstellar travel, colonies on other planets, nuclear weapons, military intrigue, and that's really all I remember. I have not seen it. It's one that I know of. I've known the name for a while. It's on my radar, but I really know very few specifics about it. I think it is one of the more recent Eastern Star releases coming out this week. But, yeah.
Well, that'll be you up next.
Okay, what do we got? Crusher Joe OVA. This is also an Eastern Star release. I think it's 2 episodes.
Yeah, it's OVAs.
Yeah. And honestly, I know the name Crusher Joe very well, but that's about it.
See, that's one I remember from my notes. Because apparently Crushers are these terraformers in the future. So we're going sci-fi to sci-fi. And they're going out terraforming asteroids or various large rocks in space for money. Unfortunately, it's not as easy as it might sound. And Crusher Joe is considered one of the best of these terraformers. So, if you like that sort of thing, definitely go for it. Now, this other one, Kaiba, I know a little bit about. I also remember a bit about this. Is that also from Eastern Star?
I believe so, yes.
This one was a Blu-ray release. I remember that. And it's a very odd-looking cover because it's about this person. They wake up and they've got a hole in their chest and they've got no memory as to what's going on, as to why they're here, as to what happened, and they're looking to restore their memory. But also...
I was going to say, so it's like the anime sequel to Rough Night, huh?
Dude, where's my card? With the anime.
Dude, where's my chest?
But what happens is there's also these creatures that are actually only memories that are going around, and they're looking for bodies. And that's pretty much all I got. Again, it looks interesting. It looks kind of artsy, kind of worth checking out. So, if you want to look into this, check this out. It's going to be interesting, I'm sure. What do you have to say on that one, Irving?
Well, I think you covered most of what I actually remember about that. That was one that stuck in my mind because of the weird cover work and the whole thing about the hole in the chest. But I don't really know much about the series, really.
It looks interesting.
Yeah.
I'll give it that very transcendental or something like that. All right, you get that one. That's a simple one to remember.
The Puzzles and Dragons?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I know very little about this series, but it looks like a basic shonen series aimed at a youthful audience. Probably the kind of thing, like if you're into like Digimon and Pokemon and that sort of stuff, you'd probably go for it. That's really all I know about that one.
Yeah.
I think that is also an Eastern Star release, but that's... Yeah.
And they end up finding, it's about this guy who finds dragons and they collect monsters and they fight each other with the monsters. Like I say, it really does.
Or wait, is that Eastern Star, or have we gotten
monsters
into the Funimation part yet?
I don't know. I know
Funimation
the next
did a
one
few
is,
this week, yeah.
I'm pretty sure that this next one is like a Joker game.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm pretty sure that is. And that one actually did intrigue me, so of course I remembered that one. It's about basically Japanese spies during World War II.
Yeah, it looks good.
And I have to admit, that does intrigue me. It does look interesting. I am very interested in seeing that. But I don't know much about it, other than it does appear to be well written. And
animation looks good.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
So, it says it is. All right.
And so my next one is Hyoka. And I was just trying to remind myself of this one, because this is one I know by name. And I remember when it came out, it got a lot of buzz. And it looks interesting. Basically, it's one of them school set comedies. Not comedies. Well, I think it's a drama.
That's
but it's literary... a school. It's like, the classic lit club. That's like... So that's kind of cool right there. You don't see too many series. An English major, I have to love something about a classic lit club. And I think it's a sort of the kids solve mysteries sort of thing. So I think I heard you mention Scooby-Doo earlier. I don't know if it's probably not as goofy. It's probably more serious, but that's sort of from the description. It reminded me a little bit of a recent series I saw, Dusk Maiden of Amnesia. So if it's in the same vein as that, I'm going to like it because I love Dusk Maiden of Amnesia. But I do know it's a funny release. This is the second volume because Funimation.
Yeah.
They'll probably do a full series release within the next year. I'll probably wait until then and then get it because it is one I want to get. But I'm going to wait for the full release. I'm not going to bother with these half releases. Yeah.
Well, I just thought it was interesting that the Classic Lit Club is the ones that are the troublemakers in the school. That's what they put up there. It's like, yep, that's what I think of. When I'm going to college, the ones you gotta watch, those classic lit people.
Well, sometimes that's true. Sometimes those the book nerds and whatnot are the ones that are really devious.
Like the character in First Night.
Okay, yeah.
Oh god, what was it? Who played him? It was the same one who played Vision. Gosh, it's been
Paul Bettany.
Yeah, Paul Bettany's character in First Night.
Okay.
He was a real rabble rouser in that one.
What about his character in Mordecai?
Oh, yeah. Very different character. So then there's Dances with Devils. Now this one, I remember enough of. It's about, again, school comedy, and the student council, the secret student council, and they're made up of like demons, devils, vampires, whatnot. And that's about it. That's all I know about that one.
Honestly, this is one that did not really register with me.
About the same thing as I got.
Yeah. And I hate to say this is like, we have so many to go through this week that some of them stuck and some of them didn't. And Dances with Devils, Dances with the Devils. I'm thinking Dances with Wolves for some reason.
Yes, it's the same thing.
Yes, exactly the same. You got it has a cameo with Kevin Costner, right?
Oh, it has to.
But yeah, dang it, I cannot type.
Don't worry about it. If anything, they can look it up if you want to know it. I mean, I've given you a very basic plot line.
Right.
If you show interest in it, obviously you can go on. I think it's a Funimation title. Matter of fact, I know it's a Funimation title because they didn't start the other companies until this next one, which is a Viz release, and then I'll let you go with that.
Yeah, and I'm trying to. My phone won't work. I was trying to get the episode count. Yeah. But the next one that
4022
is it
4 in the teens.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, so the low 400s.
Yes.
Okay, so we are up to volume 32 of Naruto Shippuden. Yeah. 13 episode chunks. We're up to number 32, so big show. And as I think I've mentioned in previous ones, I have not actually tackled Shippuden yet, just because there's so much of it. I have several pieces in my collection, and I want to watch it, but there's so much of it. But it is. I love the first series, although the second 100 episodes were. But it was mostly filler, but it was decent filler. But it was just so much of it. But Shippuden, from what I remember, the description, I think this includes. Is it the group, the Akatsuka group or whatever they call it?
It's continuing on with the big fight with
this is like they've whooped
Madara.
Gaara's butt, right? And they're
that's way early on.
Isn't that what I read in the description?
This particular one is the fight with Madara. Okay. It continues. It's
okay. So
and it goes into filler territory.
Okay.
I want to say they're in the middle of a Chunin exam. They were doing a filler arc of the Chunin exams for those people who actually had not gotten the Chunin exam, like Sakura and some of the others, how they got theirs. It was an okay story arc to start with. I'm kind of sitting there going, and it's 500 episodes. 500 episodes, which means that after I finish this, I will still have many more volumes to go.
And which also means it's still much smaller than One Piece. Think about that.
I don't want to think about that. Even though One Piece is about at the same episode length DVD-wise at this point. I think it's a little bit farther along.
I'm pretty sure, if I'd have to check, but I think the episode count's up close to 800 now.
Oh, no, I mean what's released here.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean overall. Yeah.
So mine is Occult 9, Volume 1. I actually immediately just filed this off because it was $79 and it's 6 episodes. I remember that because it's an Aniplex title.
Oh, jeez.
I remember that the story premise sounded slightly interesting, but I don't remember what it is because I saw Aniplex and $79 and just said, I don't want to know about this because I don't want to have to be interested or spend money on this.
Yeah.
But I'm sure you probably remembered what it was about, right?
I didn't even see that when I was going through the anime. I didn't even see that on the list. So, and honestly, I'm kind of like that now with Aniplex too. There are several Aniplex titles that I wish I could get, and I'm always on the lookout for deals. But I'm at the point where I just as soon not pick up any new ones.
Oh, I remember now. It's by the people who wrote Princess Jellyfish.
Oh, yeah.
That's one of their big accolades. I can't remember much more.
No, I did see that.
But it was, but it had a lot of good stuff behind it. Aniplex, for what they are, they know what they're doing because they pick up good titles, for the most part. It's titles that most people want.
Yeah.
Which is sad because if you want to get it in physical copy, you gotta work hard for it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Not all of them are on that same standard of quality, but that just makes it even more frustrating.
It does.
Yeah. But anyway, so next up we have two series. One we've covered before and one we've not. But Sentai is apparently doing staggered releases on some of their titles with the premium versus the regular editions.
And they got pushed back.
And I think a couple, 3 videos ago, we did Ushio and Tora. This week sees Sentai's bonus limited edition box set of the title. And it's worth a separate mention just because it's a cool looking set. Again, we haven't yet picked up any of the Sentai titles, although I have one on special order. But their sets look cool from the pictures. This one has, of course, multiple discs, art cards, all the stuff you usually expect. And they have like a spear that comes in the box that has its own little box. It's just, it looks interesting. The artwork on the box is all black and white, so it's like very, it might be worth a look if you really, 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 really want the show. That's the major downfall to their limited edition sets, is that they're not quite Aniplex pricey, but they're more pricey than NIS, and they're up there. But what's up?
It actually makes me laugh that the way I actually ordered this is that you end up getting both of those.
Oh dear God! Why'd you do that?
I didn't do it on purpose.
You're evil.
The other premium release was Gate, and the DVD release is actually a little bit after the premium this time. It's a big old ammo box, and it looks pretty cool. Gate is a series about these gates that open up in the real world, and fantasy creatures, knights, and stuff come through and start to invade the real world, and they fight, your army and with modern weapons. An interesting concept. I am interested in looking at it, and for those of you interested, Sentai is doing a DVD sale where they're actually doing some significant offage with that. They're selling this on DVD for $20. So, worth a look into. For $20, you can't really go wrong for a series that's 20-some episodes, if I remember correctly.
Did you say you did or didn't see anything on their website about the donations and whatever?
I haven't. If you want to do donations, because they did get hit hard by Hurricane Harvey, you should be able to go to their website and still donate. I think they are still taking some new ones. It's worth doing to keep a good one alive. They are discontinuing most DVDs. They're doing only Blu-ray releases for the most part. Older series are still getting the DVD treatment, which makes sense. I mean, lazily throwing in a 480 series on a Blu-ray disc still leaves it at 480. In some cases, it makes it look nastier. Good example, Highlander. I don't know if you saw the Highlander Blu-ray, but it was terrible. They didn't do any up-res. They didn't do anything there. It was still the old DVD quality.
Not to say that we expect or believe that Sentai does that, because I haven't
They probably haven't, but I mean, I'm guessing that they're not planning on doing that because my guess is that they're keeping the DVD-only ones on DVD because they don't want to put that expense there.
Right. And I need to... I need to get better. Actually, I'm going to be seeing an oldish Sentai title coming up soon, because October is a month where I like to pick my Halloweeny stuff and knock it out of my collection.
Oh, yeah.
And one title that Sentai finally rescued from oblivion about 2 years ago that I was thrilled. They finally brought Higurashi no Nakokore ni back into publication. Even better, the first series, which they called When They Cry, was the only series that got a release before that. And he got lucky and got a really nice old art box Skinny that sold for like $400, you know, if you could get it.
Well, not then.
Well, not anymore, but then it was. But once Sentai finally released it, it's an older series, but it's not old.
Yeah.
But it would be a good test of how clear the Blu-ray is.
Oh,
I've also got their Blu-ray release of Nadia: The Secret of Blue Water, which is an old series.
Oh, that I'm
so
looking
once
forward
I watch that, I'll find out if that was cleaned up. But that one might have to wait a while.
Yeah.
But When They Cry is coming up because October.
I mean, one of the things that struck me on that is Wonderful Wizard of Oz, which I did get a hold of, and we'll talk about more in the pickups way later on because of W.
Yeah.
But they did not upconvert it at all. They kept it at DVD quality. But they even say it on the box art. Say we kept this at DVD quality. So you know that can be done.
All right, and now what we were just chuckling. Well, he was chuckling about.
I don't have to deal with it.
I don't know why they should be one item, but whatever. Because just like last week, where we had a release and then a complete collection release, here we do too. And I'll just go with this. I think we were talking before too, or maybe you and Kim were talking about like the where they'll put out a movie and then they'll do the definitive collection, and then we know there's going to be another one of these. But there is a new Transformers movie. Yeah.
Last Night.
It's called The Last Night. And as we all know, that don't mean crap when it comes to whether it will be the final one or not. They're saying it is.
Michael Bay says he doesn't want to work on it anymore. That doesn't mean
that can only be a good thing. I'm sorry, Michael Bay has ruined my childhood with these movies. I saw only the first one.
First one was decent.
It was okay. For what it was okay. Well, if you mean generic action flick with explosions and confusing special effects, it was okay.
Oh!
Yes, because Michael Bay. But if what it was supposed to be a rehash, it was a rehash. If it was supposed to be an actual reboot of my childhood in a way to make it relevant to a new... It failed miserably.
Disappointed.
Yes, disappointed. Even though, from what I've seen recently, the old series doesn't exactly age well.
Oh, yeah.
It still was a huge part of my childhood. So,
buy or play sets and toys.
Yes. But anyway, so, yeah, if you did enjoy the Michael Bay series, if you somehow are too young to, or somehow missed the original series, or you just love Michael Bay, then by all means get this, or wait for the other item I'm coming up with in a minute.
Yeah. Last Night was interesting because Michael Bay basically said, doesn't matter what I say or what I do, everybody's going to make it top of the box office. So basically...
Yeah.
And surprisingly, or not so surprisingly, it was one of the lowest grossing Transformers movies.
Right.
It looks like this series has shown that that this has lost its luster, so it may get a rebirth. Who knows? It may actually be the end. But according to Michael Bay, he's got other projects to ruin.
Well, that actually did come out this summer, right?
Yeah.
So I think between Guardians of the Galaxy, Wonder Woman, and Fate of the Furious, I think that's where everyone else was.
It got universally panned. It was considered one of the worst ones.
Oh, geez, everyone said that about all the movies.
Yeah, well, they get worse every time, I think. So, I've got one called 47 Meters Down.
Mm-hmm.
Shark flick.
Yeah.
Basically, people go down in a diving cage to, play with the sharks, get stuck down there. So, unfortunately, they're stuck down there with the sharks.
Yes. 47 meters down.
So, I think that's pretty much the movie. And then,
it does have Mandy Moore.
Yeah.
Which is kind of weird, but
it actually looks like it'd be a nice little suspense flick. I mean, if you like movies where sharks try to eat people, that's probably a good film to watch. There was another one called The Shallows that
that was actually pretty decent.
And that's one where about sharks and they get cut off on this reef and the sharks come after them. So that was pretty decent. I didn't mind it. So this one might be good too. So Mandy Moore's not bad.
She's actually pretty good as an actress.
Yeah.
Well, as a singer too, although I can't say I necessarily like the style of music she usually does. But maybe this one has some friendly dolphins still having things up. Okay, now, if you haven't already guessed, my other item, he split them up for some reason. There's a Transformers complete movie collection also coming out this week. I don't remember what they call it. Do they just call it
I think
Transformers?
it's just Transformers collection.
Yeah.
No, Transformers 5 movie
so
collection.
I don't think they're calling it definitive or anything like that, but whatever. It's all 5 Michael Bay films. If you really love your Transformers movies, this is a good way to get them all in one tidy little package. Honestly, if I ever get them, this is probably how I would do it. Although, again, if they ever do a tinfoil collection release, that would be the way to do it. But,
it
that's
is
a good
Blu-ray
segue
set.
into the next one, though.
It is a Blu-ray set. And, of course, now we're talking Criterion, if I remember correctly, which is David Lynch, The Art of Life.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember this film, but I do know David Lynch.
Mm-hmm.
And that means that this is likely strange.
Yeah.
And, that being said, it's Criterion.
Mm-hmm.
If it's Criterion, it's likely good.
Right.
So, check it out. Get the Criterion. Enjoy David Lynch.
Well, this one is another new release. It's another one of those ones where it's like... But it's something that screams Criterion because David Lynch. And in case any of you are going, David who? Okay, this is the guy. His filmography is such random and odd films as Elephant Man, Eraserhead, Blue Velvet, Wild at Heart, Mulholland Drive, and then of all things, the cheerful, family-friendly Disney flick, The Straight Story.
Who did Twin Peaks?
Twin Peaks.
Okay, I think he did. Yes, I was thinking
David Lynch, Twin Peaks,
and it's had its revival. And David Lynch basically said, "Well, if you don't like it, then the heck with you. I'm going to be as strange as I damn well want.
Right.
And if it makes sense, then you're probably not watching it right."
And if any of you like him, or you just like weird auteur filmmakers. If you like weird auteur filmmakers and you don't know David Lynch, you gotta watch his movies.
Oh, Eraserhead.
I have not seen beyond. What did we watch? 5 minutes of that?
Yeah, I've seen the whole thing.
That was
weird.
It's weird. But Elephant Man is a great movie. The Straight Story is a great movie. Mulholland Drive is a great movie.
He's a good filmmaker.
Oh yeah,
and he knows how to get loyalty, and he knows how to bring out the best in his actors.
Oh yeah.
That's hard in director. When you can get loyalty from your actors, you know that you're doing the right thing.
I mean, heck, Kyle MacLachlan's been in half the stuff he's done. It's like.
But I've heard he's positively shameless.
Right. Well, yeah. But anyway, just a couple more quick notes on this one. Apparently, it's mostly just a direct interview with him. So there's nothing. It's like a no frills.
Like a documentary, yeah.
Yeah, well, it is a documentary. But another odd one, if I'm remembering correctly, one item on this list, and I think it was the David Lynch one, was actually Kickstarter funded, which may be a first that a Kickstarter film is in the Criterion Collection. So that would be very interesting for that, for that alone. So. That's kind of cool. But anyway, he was trying to do a rather shameless segue into our next one, which is Shameless, Season 7.
I'm glad you got that.
I had no idea. I had no idea this was up to 7 seasons. I've got to start watching this show. It stars William H. Macy as a ne'er-do-well alcoholic father of 6 children, one of whom is played by Cameron Monaghan, the guy that played the Joker prototype in Gotham. So that right there, Cameron Monaghan and William H. Macy, I've got to watch this show. And it's very popular at the library. It's supposed to be really good. I can't believe it's up to 7 seasons already.
Shoot, I don't remember what the series is about. I just know the name.
Yeah. So this is definitely on my radar, my to-get list, but who knows when I'll get to. Maybe on Black Friday I'll be able to pick up the first 5 seasons or something. We'll see. But
So the next one is 222.
Yeah.
It's a PTSD type film.
Right.
About a guy who is really good at what he does and then gets messed up at exactly 222 by something. And at this point on, at 222, he has sort of flashbacks and PTSD reactions. So they're working on trying to help him get beyond that. And that's what I know.
And that's all I know about it.
And knowing is half the battle.
Exactly.
It's funny. I actually know a good deal about the next one, which is a funny thing.
And it's really sad that once again, I think you did this before. Why do you give me all the freaking zombie stuff?
Because you love zombies so much.
Now, I'll admit, I like the title to this. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
It's called It Stains the Sands Red.
Oh, the premise is kind of cool. I really like that. I want to see it.
All I saw was zombie film, and then I tuned out the rest. So you could comment more on that.
Well, that's one of those that I actually remembered something. This is why we both work on this together, because if something like this happens where I lose my notes, then usually one of us remembers where the other one might have tuned out. And this is one of those cases where I actually had an interest in it, because it is a zombie film, but it's a zombie film that's done slightly differently. Because we're not talking like hordes of zombies, like this is what you normally see. We're talking zombie. And this zombie is chasing this woman through the desert. And that's the premise of the movie, is she's surviving, hunted by this one zombie. So, and of course, and there's even like this weird attachment she develops to the zombie, I guess, having him around makes her feel comfortable, I guess. I don't know. I would be a little bit nerved out if it was just constantly being chased by this one.
Yeah.
But the fact that it's just one zombie doing the chasing, that's a kind of neat thought. I mean, every type of zombie movie has like billions of zombies, and they're only dangerous because they got so many of them. But if you have one really fast, nasty zombie, that would be a thing there. So, The Black Room.
Okay.
Moving quickly.
Mm-hmm.
The Black Room, standard haunted house film. I'll probably see it. I've heard a little bit about it. I've looked at it a little bit, and it looks interesting. Looks a little bit scary. Don't know if I'll watch it anytime soon, but definitely has my interest up.
Very low rating on IMDb. That was the main thing I remembered about that. I think it had like a 3.4 or something.
Oh, they're all low rated. It's a horror film.
Yeah.
I mean, usually horror films max out at 6 on IMDb.
No. You'll find horror films that are really high.
I said
actually,
usually.
Yeah, yeah. But that was what I mainly remembered about it.
Hey, I give you one in the
Yay! Okay, so the next one.
Huge.
I was able to find it, yes. But yeah, it's one of those ones where the link from Joe Blow didn't work. Okay, so we've been talking before about re-releases, and this is a yet another re-release, but it's yet another re-release of one of the greatest films ever made. They are having a 30th anniversary release of The Princess Bride. And I don't know if... I couldn't really tell from Amazon's page how truly updated, how truly great this special edition will be. It's probably going to be, from the look of it, it looked like it's a little bit more work that went into it than just slapping a new cover on it.
Yeah.
But
they haven't had that many great releases.
Yeah. they need to have a Criterion release of Princess Bride. What the hell is Criterion waiting for?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but you know, that would be that'd be awesome. But anyway, it is. If you don't know the Princess Bride, what's the matter with you? But if you do, you know, but
Inconceivable.
Inconceivable. Yes, inconceivable. We would be very put out. It's it is a great film. It's one of I once read an interview with Quentin Tarantino where he talked about hangout films. And I like that concept. His explanation was, it's a film that you watch just because you love spending time with the characters. And for me, Princess Bride is near the top of that list. There's like that one and Oh Brother Where Art Thou, and there's a couple others that are really high on that list. It's just, it's just a delightful movie, and there's great history behind it. I've actually read Carrie Oll's recent book, As You Wish, where he talks about the making and everything. And it's very intriguing, and one of the very few examples where the movie is better than the book. Even though they're by the same author and the book is great, the movie is better. It's very rare that happens. Fight Club's the only other one that jumps to mind that's much better than the book. But anyway, so there's that.
So you pushed me over to this Oscar baity tearjerker thingy.
Maybe.
Love Kennedy. It sounds like Oscar baity.
Yeah.
It definitely sounds tear-jerky. I mean, it's about a teen that learns that she has a terminal illness, and then she has to come to terms with dying. And all of her family has to come to terms with her dying.
And her death, from what I understand.
Yeah, so it's...
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but that's, it's hard for me to watch these films. I probably won't watch this film unless it's up for an Oscar.
Then
I may, and then only if it wins an Oscar is it a guaranteed. But if it doesn't, and it's not up, then the chances of me watching this are slim to none.
Well, apparently no one did. It had like 5 votes on IMDb.
Wow.
But the rating was 8.6, so it was well rated.
Those 5 people really thought it was a good film.
Yes. Very, very good. Or no, maybe I'm getting them mixed up, and that one had 80 votes, and Big Pacific had 5 votes. I don't remember.
Which is strange, because I know you would like...
Yeah.
Big Pacific's one I figured that you would want to see.
Yeah, it looks good. It's apparently narrated by Daniel Day Kim, who's a pretty good actor, has been floating around for a while.
I'll float down here.
Okay.
Yes.
And from the look of it, it looked like it was a nature documentary about the Pacific.
Yeah.
Am I right? Yeah.
That's what it looks
But
like.
unfortunately, IMDb had next to no information on this title. I mean, almost none.
PBS knows documentaries.
Yeah, it's a PBS doc. And I've stated before, I love watching nature documentaries, and I really need to get better about watching more of them. This one definitely has my interest. Unfortunately, it was hard to find any info on it. So... Yeah.
I still need to watch all of Galapagos, which I've watched part of.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I really am interested in seeing these things. So, another one, actually, it's kind of funny. Why don't I do this? I'm going to do a switch up, because you probably know more about the top one, and I probably know more about the bottom one.
Okay.
So why don't we switch up and let you get this one? Because this one's getting a Criterion.
So, I'm going now? Or?
Yeah.
Okay, I can do that. Okay, this one's getting a Criterion release, and it's one that is probably going to be kind of a controversial Criterion release, but Orson Welles is obviously someone who screams Criterion, But Orson Welles also is widely known as one of the... Well, he was a character. Yeah. Like, he had his vision, and he would work and work and work. When he was directing a film, he would go out of his way to make the movie he wanted to make. Everyone else be damned. And when he was an actor, apparently he went out of his way to just do what he wanted. I watched I think it was A Long Hot Summer, Paul Newman film, where there's an anecdote that the director got so fed up with Orson Welles, he drove him out in the middle of a swamp and told him to walk home. And that's like, but basically, when I took Shakespeare, I watched Orson Welles' version of Macbeth, and it was weird. It was weird.
Orson Welles.
And this particular release that we're talking about this week is his take on Othello, in which he plays the title role. Considering that Othello is traditionally considered to be a black man, that's probably going to ruffle a few feathers. It probably did ruffle a few feathers at the time. It's supposedly a pretty decent movie overall. Wells apparently gave a well-regarded performance. Supposedly the dude that plays Iago does a great job in the role. But it's going to be a weird film. I am almost willing to say, without question, it's going to be a weird film. But it's a Criterion release with all the goodies that Criterion releases tend to get when they're old films that have had time to marinate. They get a lot of goodies with the Criterion release. So if you haven't already seen this film, like I haven't seen it yet, this is going to be the way to try to see it. Definitely.
Yep. Get out your can of white paint, people. We're going to do some whitewashing.
Back in the day before they knew that was a thing. That's sad.
It could be worse. It could have been Charlie Chan.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man. Oh.
But you gotta look at films for the times that they're made in. Yeah. Not there. I mean, if they did that today, that just wouldn't stand. But this is just, you gotta look at the time.
Yeah.
Now, the last film is a remake. Well, the film itself isn't, but a remake is coming out, which is why you're getting the last film re-released on Steelbook of all things.
Yeah.
Which is Flatliners.
Which means you're going to be getting it, I'm sure.
I already got Flatliners. I don't need another copy of it. I like Steelbooks, but I don't like it enough to say I want Flatliners on there. Flatliners was decent. Don't get me wrong. It's about a group of college kids who get their kicks by stopping their hearts and then getting them restarted so they can take a glimpse at the afterlife, say that I've been dead or be under. But then they start to be haunted by these visions or spirits. It's a pretty intense movie. First time I watched it was a while back when it came out, and I was creeped out by it. Not as creeped out by it on this time. It's more of a drama and a thriller than a true horror film. I'm curious as to how they handle the remake, but it's one of those that I looked at and said, why are they remaking this?
They're probably going to go for cheap thrills and that sort of thing,
Yeah, well.
Make it scary.
It was decent. Not worth getting a steelbook for, but if you haven't seen it, it is worth checking out. And if you like collecting steelbooks, I'm sure this will be one that will be a collector's item. So, pick yourself up a copy of Flatliners.
I need to see it one of these days.
Yeah, get the steelbook.
That's isn't that one of Julia Roberts' first movies or early movies?
I think she was in it.
And Kiefer Sutherland, right? Am I remembering correctly? Yeah.
I mean, it had a decent pedigree of a cast. It's just it wasn't that wonderful movie. Any case, it looks like we can wrap things up here. So if you like this, hit like, subscribe. Leave comments. I will answer, so long as you're not a bot or an advertiser. I will answer. I'm trying to shorten these up a little bit for this. Save a lot of the extra conversation about what's going on for the pickups. Making that more of a blog. This more of a kind of just information so that you can get your news as quickly as we can. This time we didn't really do very well with that, but there was also a list
15 minutes less than last week.
Yeah, so we get a list a mile long. You gotta do what you gotta do. So, seeing you next week. Have a good one.
Yeah.